Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm doing another video. Now today I'm interviewing someone who has inspired me very much in this YouTube channel, someone who has been on my YouTube journey from the very start, someone who is honestly the biggest reason why the next step is a thing. This person is incredible, and I am so blessed to be talking to Amy Wright today. Now, Amy Wright, if you didn't know somehow, is the choreographer, casting director, and a producer of The Next Step. She really does it all, and she really is such a huge part of The Next Step. And me and Amy have been friends for a little while now. We have been staying in touch. We've done kind of annual videos, which has been amazing. And I'm very excited to be chatting with her again today and kind of catching up about The Next Step Season 9. It's going to be amazing. And I'm just so excited. It's going to be such a good chat. So it is with great pleasure that I welcome Amy back to my channel for, I think it must be the third or fourth time now. So thank you so much for joining me, Amy.
Hi everyone, I am Amy Wright. I am the lead choreographer, I am the casting director, and I'm now officially a co-executive producer on the Next Step television series.
Thank you so much for joining me, Amy. So today we're going to be chatting about your experience and time on The Next Step Season 9 and really diving into the new season, which will be amazing. But to start off this interview, I wanted to talk to you about how you felt when you found out The Next Step Season 9 was happening. It must have felt so amazing.
It was really exciting. It's always like some TV shows, they hire you for like 5 years, and this, we never know. We never know when we finish shooting if we're going to have another season. So when the rumors start percolating, and then it's usually a few months before it's actually confirmed. And then when they confirm it, we are shooting like a couple weeks later. It all happens very quickly. And in fact, I think if you watch our interview from last year, I think I like really hinted, because we knew when you were interviewing me that there would be a 10. And I should have watched the interview. And I'll do that when I'm done. And I'll tell you the line when I was like, "It's happening, Charlie," but I couldn't say so.
But no, I remember that. It was so exciting. I mean, I didn't know a lot, but I could kind of see the hints coming through. It was very exciting. Right. And in season 9, you had a lot of new dancers come along. I mean, we had a lot of new people in A Troupe who kind of came in from Ultra Elite. So what was it like auditioning those new dancers, and what was kind of the process of that?
Well, we always hold a massive dance call, and I try to see as many dancers, people that through agents, obviously I accept everybody who comes from an agency, and then the outreach to dance studios. So some people I know, some people hear through the grapevine. So I always try and see as many dancers as I can fit in the room. And I know you've interviewed Kate. I just watched that one. It was really interesting because the writers already sort of had started planning a storyline for Ariana, because they knew Kate from season 8 and also through Presley, and they thought it was a nice twist. So for me as the casting director, it was interesting because we were almost looking for less parts, because we kind of thought Kate would get it. Now, Kate still did have to audition with everybody else. She had to prove her worth. She came in, and was at the final callbacks with, I think there were 50 people in there. But that meant there was one less part for a person we'd never met before. So it was interesting. It was a different kind of year, because that was one of the times that there had been pre-planning for a character that we only sort of knew through Elite, or what is it? Well, Ultra Elite. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like the audition process was very fun, and it must be amazing just kind of working with all those talented dancers. It must be such a fun time for you, kind of just spending time with them all.
Yeah, I should say, so I don't know if I talked about this before, but there always is dancing first. We teach them choreography, and actually Kenzie Emerly had been assisting me at the auditions, just teaching the combo. So it's kind of fun for some fans that come in, and then they get to learn a routine from somebody from The Next Step. And so dancing is first. The choreography, we also do freestyle. So that's something else that is obviously a skill in The Next Step is, if you're given a few moments just to dance on your own, what are the wow things you can pull out of your hat? And then we definitely do some acting. We talk to them. We ask why they love to dance, the typical kind of next step questions. And then there is a whole bunch of acting rounds where our showrunners come in and give the people scenes and they improvise and things like that. So it's quite extensive, the casting process. And I thought I should say, because it's rarely talked about, but I get asked all the time, can I work on the next step if I'm from out of the country? So I often get people from the UK saying I want to audition, and it is possible, but it's pretty tricky. Even I can't come to the United Kingdom and just work. I need a work visa. The same as if you were coming to Canada and wanted to be a journalist or be in the next step or whatever, you also need a work visa. And then a lot of dancers say, well, my parents will get me one. And it's a little bit trickier than that. There are all sorts of regulations for each country to protect its own citizens. So one of the challenges with being we did in season 3, we had Ella from England, and she clearly was from England, but we had to arrange a special work visa with her. We also have to get special permission with the union, the Actors Union, ACTRA, and we have to prove that there's no one in Canada who can do what Ella could do. So that's one of the things. And she obviously was extraordinary. She was authentically British. Plus she had the acrobatic skills, plus she had the acting chops. So there's all sorts of factors that come into play with hiring someone from out of country. So I don't mean to dash people's hopes, because it could happen. But in the same way, I couldn't just go over and work for the CBBC as a host without proving that why I deserve that working visa.
Well, it sounds like there's so much work which goes into casting. I mean, within your role and also, like you said, with people coming from other countries, it's just such a big process. And, the auditions were done and then you kind of moved into production. And the first day of set, from what I've heard, is always such an exciting time. So what was your experience like on the first day of set this year?
Well, I was in the building as Studio A was going up, which was really exciting to see everything. I was in there when it was empty and then it started being built. And I sent videos to the cast. The first day, we tried to have it be a surprise, especially for the new cast members. We all want to go into Studio A together and kind of get the reactions. But I think if you're a super fan, you might have seen Emerly's vlog. Emerly and Blake already snuck in there. So some of it, I was like, you guys can't come in here until you're allowed. But a lot of them did sneak in to see it before we let them. But it's always very exciting. Being in Studio A, it feels like it is my dance studio, even though it gets torn down and rebuilt every year. There's something, it just feels really good in it. And the excitement of being in that space with all of the cast, old and new, is always really something special.
Yeah, it must be so exciting kind of seeing it all being built again. And like you said, I feel like even as a viewer, seeing Studio A feels very nostalgic, it feels very homely. So I imagine for you, it just must be such a joy to go back to every season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's things that don't change. In season 1, we had this stereo, and it's still tucked in a corner by the cubbies. I would really have to check if it got taken down this year. It's just always there. But that's what we used to use to rehearse with. But it's never actually played music in the show because our music comes from magic. There's a stereo somewhere at the next step, and it just turns on when we want it. It's a psychic stereo. So little things that are still there. And this was the first time that you knew the mirrors swiveled. So when that very first dance, when the mirrors opened up, and I think I was watching your reaction video, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that they did that, or did you?
Yeah, I think I was saying something like how I didn't know that dancers could fit behind the mirrors. I said something like that.
Dancers could fit, yeah. So my son, when he was 5, he used to hide behind there. And so you do know the mirrors rotate so that we don't see the cameras. And we were just trying something different. I mean, after 9 seasons of so many dances in Studio A in episode 1, it was like, let's do something different this time. And Mitch brought out the Steadicam, which I loved. I love anything where we can combine all of the movement. The dance actually was 100% shot on the Steadicam. And then they could have used just that because it was pretty cool. It was the first time ever you saw the dancers in a 360 view. It was very cool, but I know they ended up editing it together, so it was all the cameras into the dance. But it was certainly a different start, and some fans liked it and some fans didn't. But for me, it was like the next level cool thing to do with dancing is use that Steadicam.
Oh, it was such a good opening dance. And I think, like you said, yes, there were some people who didn't like it, but personally, I just thought it kind of showed how the next step's kind of moving with the times. It's always like kind of upgrading. And talking about that dance, you know, you got to choreograph a lot of dances for season 9. And do you have a favourite one? I mean, it's a hard question, but was there a favourite one that you choreographed this season?
Actually, the couch dance was really exciting as well. That was another thing that we just sort of came up with. I was like, we've got a couch. And let's, you know, we did have the idea of the Friends opening. That was really fun, bringing in the new cast members. And we also, originally Pascal wasn't in that dance, but I said, but Ella, when she was visiting from England, she got to be in it. So I'd convinced them to let Pascal in. So it just felt like a really full cast routine. And using the couch as like a land base to go back to was really fun. I said, it's like an island. And whenever you're on it, and especially Ariana's on it a lot, is that just jump up and down or just watch your friends. So that was fun. And then I did love the red dress dance. It was, I guess, sort of like the piano dance, and that everything was black and white and red. But that dress, our costume designer found it, and I can't remember how long the train was. It was very difficult to work with. But it was just incredible to use a prop that was a costume other than a prop that's a giant set piece like we've used before with like the circus theme. So this was a challenge though, because incorporating the prop also meant all the focus was on the prop. So it was a different kind of dance for a troupe to support the red dress. But I always said you're not supporting just the red dress, you're supporting this idea of love and this thing that holds you together. I might as well finish my story about that. The dance itself, to me, is that whenever any of the dancers touched Love or came into contact with Olive or the red dress, then they were able to lift off and they were able to jump and dance. And the whole original idea was to never put Olive down ever. But that was impossible. Like to lift her up and never let her touch the ground once. Might have been more capable if we didn't have that dress. Like always, anyone that went in it and under it got tangled in it. So it was quite a challenge, but it just was really different and beautiful. So that would be my other favorite one. Yeah.
Yeah, both those dances were so good. I mean, like you said with the couch one, that Friends vibe 100% came through. I think both I and Alicia said that in our reaction videos. It was a very strong kind of idea there. And with the finals routine with the dress, it was such a unique thing to do. And I think the dress just kind of, like you said, added so much to the storyline. And I really like the ending, kind of how you used the backdrop in the balloon. That was very modern of the next step to do that.
Yes, it was fun. If we'd had, a movie feature film budget, I wanted like the Wizard of Oz where they grab on and Dorothy, and when she goes up at the end in her basket, I would have wanted the whole cast flying away. And it's kind of, I know they talk about getting through the storm and coming out on the bright side. For me, it was also that once you're uplifted and the troupe touches love and they all love each other, is that together you can be uplifted. So I imagined them, if that balloon could have kept going and everybody hanging on to Olive's dress and up they go into the great blue sky. Another thing I should talk about is just all the choreography support I have. And this year there were actually mostly cast members as guest choreographers. So Ben is a guest choreographer, Pete, Carter is a guest choreographer and he's Heathcliff. Emerly was a guest choreographer, Kenzie. We also had Isaac Lupian was a choreographer and an associate with me. And then I also had Nathan Espejo, who has been with us in past seasons and he's appeared. Nathan's the person that West kisses in the hip hop battle. Instead of smack talk, he kisses him on the cheek. So that's Nathan. He's been in and out of the show for years. And then also Team France, most of their choreography, their duet, their solo with Mackenzie, and their group dance was Caitlin Page. And she is somebody that's been working with me on and off. So it clearly is a team. I sometimes go in and share the concept, and then the geniuses fill in the pieces of the puzzle. And so it's quite, and even the cast collaborate, right? With Ariana's solos, she certainly contributed. She's like, I can do this amazing thing. And it's like, well, we'll put that in. So that's really great when we have dancers that do things that most of the normal world can't. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it must be amazing to kind of have such an amazing kind of team around you for choreographing this season. And, you know, it's great the cast have the opportunity to do it as well. I mean, that's incredible. And, you know, this season, like I said earlier, we had a lot of new dancers come on. You had Olive, Adele, Ariana, Pascal. I'm trying to remember them all now. Niall, that's it. You're testing my memory now. But you had so many new dancers. So what was it like working with them? Was it kind of fun to have some new people in the studio?
It's great. Niall Nicholas is our youngest. So he was with us at age 15. And it's been a while since we've had that young of cast members. Because of COVID and the years, people started to get a little bit older. In season 4, like Alexander, Chaves, and Shelby, they were 14. And Victoria was, 13. So we've always had a wide range of ages, and this kind of brought us back to the younger-ish cast. So Kate, I think Nicholas is the youngest, then Kate, then Hattie and Shariana share a birthday. They're birthday twins. And so it was interesting having the younger kids there again, because they bring just a fresh, I'm going to call it playfulness, and also this thrill, because they were all fans when they were 7. We have really sweet pictures. I'll send you some, Charlie. I'll ask her permission first, but we have really sweet pictures of Nicholas with Isaac when Nicholas was 7 and wanted to be Isaac or Eldon. And there are some sweet ones. Of Kate when she has her Next Step concert shirt on. So these were all people that watched the show when they were younger, and now to be on it just made it really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds amazing. I mean, I can remember when I was interviewing Kate about her Next Step experience, she was saying how she was such a fan of the show, and it's just amazing that fans of the show kind of get the opportunity to have a go at being on it. I mean, that's incredible. Now, the Next Step season 9, we were talking before we were filming, in my opinion, was one of my favourite seasons ever on the show. I think it was absolutely incredible. But during filming, was there any kind of issues or like hard moments that you came across?
I would say like reinventing internationals was a great challenge, a little bit of a challenge for me, excuse me, but probably, a real much bigger challenge for the writers to figure out how that was going to work. Our production designer, Bill Layton, is wonderful. And there's a British television dance show, but there's one piece in this show, and they were doing sort of like an old movie musical, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers thing, but they modernized it. And I was just loving taking something old and bringing it new again. So I'd showed Bill, and so he was like, okay, that would be kind of fun for internationals to be bringing back the old Hollywood glamour. And that's sort of where he got the beautiful staircase idea with these gorgeous glow-in-the-dark stairs, was thinking about those tap dances in those old movie musicals where they go down the stairs and they can light up as they walk and things like that. So he created this gorgeous set. And the best thing about it was that we controlled everything. It was in our building. The lighting, they brought in all sorts of new lighting equipment, all sorts of fantastic things. But what I found that you do miss is the super wide camera shot where you can see an entire theater. So, that's what's missing. But feeling into it and part of it kind of balances it out for me. So that was the challenge. It was also the first year we did white wall on the first day. I'm not sure why we did that. Somebody just thought it was try it. So when we were doing white wall, a lot of the new kids had no idea other than what they'd seen on TV. So I scream out like, dance, jazz, dance happy, dance sad, dance with each other. Now pretend you're mad and walk away. Like we do all these things. And so that was a bit of a shock at first, but once they started seeing what the people who'd done it before, like Emily has done it the most of anybody. So as soon as she went out, she showed them exactly what they needed to be doing to accomplish that. And also, that was the first day of shooting. So Anthony and Adele, for example, had just basically had a few rehearsals together. But now we're like, dance slow together, pretend you like each other. And, we know that's a plot line. It is acting as you come. But when it's your first day and you have to slow dance with somebody that you haven't really had many scenes with. So that was kind of fun, breaking barriers that way.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been a really kind of good icebreaker to do white walls on the first day. I mean, it must have been really, really fun to do as well on the first day. A great way to kind of kick off the season. And, as you were saying with internationals, it was very different. It was new, but I think it did work very, very well. But I just wanted to ask, what was the reasoning for doing it at the studio? Was there a reason for that?
Well, one thing is that season 3 internationals was so big, so iconic. It was in probably the biggest theater in downtown Toronto. And if we hadn't gone back to Miami, because it's nicer to go to a different country, we wouldn't have access to that theater. We didn't, in my opinion, we didn't want it to be like competing with the season 3 internationals. Like if we didn't do it as grand and at that theater with all the things and we went to another theater and something seemed off, people would have just hated it. It'd be like, season 3 internationals was the best. And by completely changing the concept, allows people not to compare the two. I mean, you're going to anyway and say season 3 was so big, but season 9 was so different because of this. So in a way, it really helped just bring a new vibe to the show without having to compete with what the OGs did, So
yeah, it certainly brought a different vibe to the show. And like I said, I just think it works so well. I loved watching it. And, it just kind of gives the option, I guess, if we do get a future season, that the studio is always around to host competitions now.
Exactly. And who knows if ever there is a next step back in Miami, maybe we rent that same theater again, but it always is moving forward and trying to change and take us on a new direction. It's a challenge to keep everything fresh. And so I think that was one thing the writers did to capitalize on something new and different.
That is the end of part 1 of my interview with Amy Wright. It was incredible talking to Amy, and we will be back very soon for the second part of our interview. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye, guys.